Hi, welcome to You Can Do Medicine. My name's Tom, good to see you. And so today we're just going to look at my hobbies and what it is that I do outside of studying just to stay sane, really. And I think that it's important to discuss why you need to have these things, as when doing such an intense course of medicine, there's so much information. It's an unbelievable amount of information that you have to work your way through. I believe that one of the lecturers actually may have said in the 10.5 weeks that we've been studying so far, that we've been given the same amount of information as some entire degrees would have. So ultimately, it's impossible to learn it all. No one would be able to learn everything that we've been taught, and it's just about trying to learn the majority of it and sort of have a baseline or a knowledge above the baseline that you need to do to pass your exam, really. And so that you don't lose your mind trying to remember it all and endlessly study, the importance of having time away from it, where you can just get your headspace. Start interacting with people that are not medical students as well. I'd be fair to say that since I've been at uni, the only students I've really spoken to have been medical students, which wasn't really what I expected. I thought I would be interacting with more, but I can understand how it's happened because you need to learn so much that you're constantly asking your classmates, what have you done? What do you do? And so much information, sort of hearsay that you find through the grapevine. And so, yeah, you really need to keep close contact with people. You couldn't do this course, I wouldn't say, without having a network of friends on the course. And yeah, so having other things that you do outside of university and somewhere that you can, focus your attention on for a time is vitally important. So, uh, we'll start off with the main things that I do. Now, if you look up here, you can see a game which is called Explorers of Ixalan. That is a Magic the Gathering game, and it's the main thing that I do in my spare time. It's an extremely geeky game, not gonna lie. It's a collectible card game that you can play competitively. It's actually the second biggest card game other than poker that's played around the world. Though a lot of people probably haven't heard of it. There are numerous millions of players that actively play on a weekly basis. But it's an extremely difficult game. One of the most complex games, if not the most complex game that there's ever been. It's constantly being updated. It's constantly having new cards added to the pool. I think that there's somewhere in the region of 43,000 different cards currently. Yeah, I think that figure is about accurate, and it has a collectible aspect of it. So the original cards when it started out in '93 are now worth quite a lot of money, and uh, throughout the game's history, there's always been this kind of balance of collectible versus just playing the game. And I would say that I've been on both sides of the fence. I've never done particularly well competitively. And the highlight of my Magic career is I came 63rd in the Scottish Nationals when I was 17. And the collectible aspect of it is actually something that I focus on a lot more. Just to give you a tiny taste of the depth, if there's anyone that knows about Magic, that's quite a naughty page. Um, yeah, well, I keep that in a safety deposit box majority of the time due to the value of those cards. And um, the great thing about Magic is it's a social game as well. The main place to play in Edinburgh is a place called Mox in the Hole over on the west side of the city centre. And I quite regularly go there on a Friday night. And there's a format called Draft where you kind of just build a deck there and then and see how it goes. It's good because you're interacting with different people every week. Sometimes you win, sometimes you do terribly, and you just accept your fate. It's not a very competitive thing. It's more of it's a fun thing to do on a Friday night rather than hit the pub or whatnot. And the collectible side of it is probably something that I'll just continue to do in my life. I really enjoy collecting cards. I've probably got in the region of over 100,000 of them, and you know, I'll always find ways to need to reorganize them again or that kind of thing. The Moving on, another thing that I have spoken about previously is my walking. I a keen walker now. It's something that I only really got into when I moved back to Scotland, and it's because I noticed that when you're working in the pub industry, you're walking around a lot. Certainly, certainly, some days I would be walking all around London, maybe walk up to like 15 miles to hit up all the pubs just to check up on them and see how they're doing. And when I moved back to Glasgow, certainly I wasn't being as active as that. So getting back into walking has been really good. Um, Twofold, good exercise, keeps you nice and flexible and um, feeling fit. If you do longer walks, for example, I've really enjoyed doing sections of the West Island Way, sections of the John Muir Way, and also living on Holyrood Park, being able to go out and do that on a daily basis is great. Like I actually went up Arthur's Seat this morning at 7:15 in the pitch dark, and it's very muddy up there at the moment. It was probably a mistake. I should have waited until it got light. But anyway, there we go. So that doing walking like that is great for the exercise. But in terms of being able to clear your head, when you walk away out into the countryside, you're away from everyone, you're away from everything. Um, you're just focusing on doing the route. Um, and I think that it's made me appreciate, nature. I've actually started going out in the dark now, and checking out stars. I really like looking and sort of figuring out star constellations and that kind of thing. But just getting in touch with something that's completely different and a million miles away from, you know, trying to figure out biochemistry stuff in the library is the important thing there. Um, over the study period for the exam there, I was finding myself coming into the library before 9 o'clock, finding the library almost full, and a lot of people just asleep at the desk. Um, you know, it's just a waste of time. I don't know why anyone would do that to themselves. You need to look after yourself. You need to keep. You need to go home. You need to sleep. You need to do various things. And I find that doing the likes of walking cards it helps me to break it up so that I can go home, have a great night's sleep, and then get up early and focus more on study. I can't imagine what it must be like peeling yourself off of a textbook in the middle of a library, having had a few hours sleep, trying to do an all-nighter, and then trying to study again. It must be horrible. I wouldn't recommend it. Now, um, aside from that, just little things. I really like coffee. From my beer hunting and sort of sommelier days, I don't do much drinking these days. Instead, big fan of tea and coffee. Um, Probably like quite snobby, to be honest, in my choices on it. Um, generally just go to small independent coffee places, and certainly there's me and one of my friends go to some cool new places. We try and find places that we haven't been, and yeah, for me that's almost like my sort of beer hunting. It's like going coffee hunting. There's also a really good tea place here that's just across the road from the old college building of the university here that's got a great tea selection and quite well priced as well. So been getting back into a tea. I used to get quite a lot of interesting teas from Borough Market down in London, and so I kept that going. Um, and yeah, I suppose that like restaurants always something that interests me, and I'm the kind of person that would rather budget and take like just not spend money for a couple of weeks so that I could save up and go somewhere nice. And yeah, Edinburgh's awash with good restaurants, thankfully, so able to do that. Cooking is something that I love doing. I think that cooking is one of the most therapeutic things you can do. I try to cook everything from scratch where I can. And so spending on a Sunday afternoon doing like batch cooking of a batch of chili or bolognese, whatever, for the week, might take up to 2 hours, and I find that great. Just they put a magic video on the background or some playlist, just getting chopping vegetables and cooking away and trying something new. That's that that's a really like rewarding thing, I think. Again, can't be understated how important it is to be doing that kind of thing. There's a good gap actually between studying because you know that once you've cooked or say you're making something like a chili, maybe you're letting it just simmer away. You can go back and study for a bit more after having taken that break for an hour or two. Um, and yeah, breaks the day up nicely. Anyway, so that's my hobbies, and yeah, if anyone's wanting to discuss it more, feel free to email me. Hope to see you soon. Bye now.